Hey, what's going on, guys? In this video, I want to talk about one of my favorite things, Scott Adams' book, How to Fail at Almost Everything and Still Win Big. Now, in this video, I'm going to tell you whether or not it's worth your time to listen to the Audible version of this or read this book, whether or not it's actually going to be worth the time and money. And I'm going to tell you why, for certain people, this is going to be a life-changing book. So before we get into it, in Scott Adams fashion, I want to talk about one of the common concerns that people have with this book, which is that Scott Adams' advice does not apply to most people. It's only applicable to people in a situation, specifically, white males that grew up in the California Bay Area in the 70s. It's basically the complaint you'll see if you go on Amazon and look at this book. Now, while that may be true, Scott goes out of his way at the beginning of the book to address this and tell people that, this definitely won't apply for everyone, and it's only, his experience and what's happened based on those experiences in his life. So now that we can move on from that, I'm going to get into what I liked about the content of the book and then tell you exactly why this might be a life-changing book for you. So the big things that I liked, first of all, Scott's writing style. So Scott's writing style, he attributes to his training as a hypnotist. He said this gave him a really solid grounding in human psychology and persuasion and allows him to understand how to really get through with ideas to people. Specifically, his writing style, he addresses all the common concerns, counter arguments, and problems people are going to have with any subject he's bringing up while he's bringing up or before he starts to discuss it, more or less to disarm the reader and try to open up their mind to some of these new ideas. So for some people, they find this highly engaging and a nice feature of his writing. Other people find it super annoying. For me, I liked it most of the time. So another part of the book that I like is his idea of a talent stack. So this is an idea that's become pretty popular in mainstream self-help media. A lot of YouTube videos, people will talk about this. I think Scott was one of the first people I've heard recommend this. And more or less, it's an idea where, Scott says you can roughly think of your chances for success in life doubling for every highly in-demand skill that you acquire. So if you think of skills like selling or leadership or software engineering or business writing is another one he talks about, public speaking, these types of highly in-demand, skills that can be used across different industries and for different jobs. He says that you can think of your chances of success roughly doubling for every one of these. And while he points out that this isn't an exact metric, it's a good heuristic or mental model to motivate yourself to learn these new valuable in-demand skills. The next one is systems versus goals. This is another idea that's become extremely popular in mainstream self-help. It's become so popular that there's a ton of authors and bloggers and YouTubers that have actually come out saying they're against this idea. It basically has enough momentum for people to make quality content just going against this idea, which is you need to set up systems to achieve your goals. You shouldn't rely on just coming up with your own personal goals and writing them down and tracking them. You really need to focus more on the system you have to achieve those goals. I personally take this a step further and think that you need to have goals, systems for achieving those goals, and then a way that you're going to implement that system in your day-to-day life, and they're all equally important. So the next one, and this is the most important part of this book, this is the part that can potentially change your life for readers who have never read a story quite like Scott's, is the underlying theme of persistence and your intentions in life dictating your results with anything that you're going after. So one of the themes throughout the book is that Scott has these massive wins and losses and ups and downs in his life that he shows through anecdotes in the book. Now, if you read a lot of the reviews, many people talk about the anecdotes being annoying or distracting or just there's no reason for them to be in the story. And I can't help but think that some of those readers might have missed out on this underlying current of a message and a lesson that he's trying to teach, which is your intentions dictate your results. The best example of this is a medical condition Scott had called spasmodic dysphonia, which was a horrible condition he had that affected his vocal cords such that he was not able to speak in a number of important ways during important events, things like his public speaking. So Scott had a small career for a number of years earlier in his career as a public speaker. During this time, he had this condition, spasmodic dysphonia, which was making it impossible for him to speak in public. He was told by a score of different medical experts that he would not be able to cure this, and it was basically something that would get progressively worse over time, and he was just going to have to deal with it and quit his speaking career. So what Scott did that's so important is he made a decision right there in the doctor's office that he was not going to settle for that. He was going to find a solution regardless of what any medical profession told him, or any medical professional told him. He ended up sticking to that intention, and over time, he just kept relentlessly tracking down leads for people who might have a potential cure until eventually he was able to cure himself through a number of different solutions that he came up with through talking to people in a number of different fields. And the point of this story is that when you set your intention on something, you have exponentially greater chance of being able to achieve it if you just make the decision and solidly focus on it, you commit to it, and over time you maintain that intention and commitment. So if you've never read anything like this about someone who's truly relentless with what they're going after in life, this book could definitely change your life. I want to wrap it up. In conclusion, this is definitely a book that if you haven't read stories like this and you've never heard of someone really just creating their own reality, this book definitely has the potential to change your life. If you have read things like that, I still believe Scott has some amazing opinions on how to achieve different goals in your life, and it could definitely open up your mind to some of those new ways of achieving things you want, which would make it definitely worth the read. In the worst case, I think this book will provide you with some practical solutions that you can apply in your life, to see incremental improvements. So regardless, I think it's worth a listen or a read. It's worth the $10 or whatever you have to pay on Amazon to get it. So, that's my review. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you got something out of it. If you didn't, or if you did, let me know in the comments below what you think. If you haven't already, make sure to like and subscribe so that you're notified anytime that I come out with a video like this. And as always, thank you for watching.